everyone. Welcome. I see people coming in. We're nearing 60. Welcome, welcome. I'm here with Cristina Barragan. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. I'm awful with names. I couldn't be, you know, those people in the airport that say names, and I would be awful at that. Anyhow, welcome. I would love to chat with you guys. Tell me, type something in there. Tell me where you're coming from, who you are, where you're at. I want to hear that in the chat tab. There's also a Q&A. You can post your questions there as we're speaking. And I'm just going to go through a couple housekeeping things while everyone is logging in here. So again, welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes. And if you have trouble with Huzza, this is where we're at right now, Huzza, go ahead and bring up the on Chrome. It works best on Chrome. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Kelly, Floral Creations from Hillsboro, Oregon. That's awesome. I just wanted to mention also that today's live chat is brought to you by Mayish Wholesale Florist. I'm Yvonne Ashton, the Director of Marketing at Mayish, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew about our really cool Mayish Design Star Flower Workshop Tour. Our amazing 2017 Mayish Design Star, Christy Hulsey, she'll be stopping at 7 to 8 more cities this year, sharing her knowledge about floral design with you guys. So be sure to check that out. Tickets on sale right now for a full day workshop. It's a really great value. We've been going off site to just really pretty settings, having a great photographer, and you're gonna learn about garlands, compote designs, bouquets, styling, photography, and more. So you don't wanna miss it, check it out. Say hello, oh, Chloe from Jackson, Wyoming. Dee, hey there, Charleston, West Virginia. And of course, Cristina. Also, before we get started, please take a minute to share this on Facebook and Twitter or anywhere else that you are on social media, letting everyone know about this really cool live video that we're going to be doing, and that it's starting right now. And the link to share that should be on the bottom right between, let's see, the number of viewers and the full screen icon, if you guys see there. Also, I just wanted to mention, I'm really sad that Huzza is going away. It just got bought out by Kickstarter. Very exciting for them. Sad for us because we have to find a new platform to use now. So I'm going to be looking for that. So my almost 500 subscribers here on Huzza, stay tuned because we'll find somewhere hopefully better to do this. There's a kind of a app for Facebook that I'm going to look at, and a different platform that should be good. And I have a couple other speakers lined up, so we definitely are keeping up with the live video thing. I'm very passionate about this, so just stay tuned for that. Huzza, as I mentioned, you can chat here. There's a chat on the right-hand side. Go ahead and chat away with anyone that you see. Cortland, hey, from San Marcos, Texas. And let's see, Laura from California, McKenna Floral, welcome, welcome. Anne from Seattle, hi guys. Let's see, what else? Ooh, questions. Make sure that you post your questions in the Q&A tab, guys, because that way I can find them easily and I can let Cristina know while she's speaking what pops up and when. So I'll just every now and then interrupt her with questions that you guys have, and we'll take them as go. And of course, we'll have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. I also wanted to mention that this is being recorded. You can watch the replay immediately on Huzza, but I'll be uploading it to YouTube and to Facebook, of course, and it'll be up on our blog with all of our other great content that you guys have to check out. Today we are here chatting with Cristina Barragan, owner and chief creative officer of Posh, Peony, about how you can cut your client management time in half by using systems like HoneyBook. HoneyBook is pretty cool. Of course, there are many other platforms available to you, and we have a really great summary of those different systems, and hopefully most of them. I think we're missing one or two, so we have to do an update soon, but that is up on the blog, and I will share that link with you guys in the comments and up on the screen in a minute. But I also wanted to mention that Cristina has a little surprise for you guys, so be sure to hang on to the very end. And without further ado, Cristina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be speaking with all of my fellow floral entrepreneurs. So exciting. So thank you for joining in, and for those of you that are on the replay, thank you as well. So yeah, just like she said, I am Cristina Barragan of Posh, Peony, and I have been in business for 12 years now. And a lot of people know my story, but those of you that don't know my story, I started very, very young. I was 21. At the same time, I was also teaching full time. So I had this balancing act that I had to do with my full-time teaching career and then this full-time business that I launched out of the blue. It just kind of happened. I had zero formal training. I had no interest of even going into business, but it just kind of happened. I think that happens with a lot of us. So my journey began there. And over time, for the last, I'm going to say before first 6 years in, I was just struggling completely with my time, my life balance, getting back to clients in a timely manner. It was awful. And this is, of course, before social media, before all these wonderful systems came about just in the recent few years. And I had to really just make it work. And you know, even though some of us might do things the old school way with Excel or Word document, Google Docs, whatever it is you use, I'm just super thankful for HoneyBook. It's the system that I jumped on board right away with a couple years ago, and I haven't looked back. And so I'm here today to be sharing how I streamline my proposal process and how my automated systems have allowed me to essentially save time, book more clients, and just really grow my business and get it all scaled and wonderfully done, so I don't have to worry about these things anymore. And so before I get started, I do want to say, like she said, I do have a surprise for you guys. So if you stick with me till the end, I will let you know how to get your hands on these templates that I've created to help you through an email series, which I will talk about in just a moment. So definitely stay tuned for that. Okay, so I'm going to be juggling a couple screens. I've never done it on this system, so I'm hoping I do it okay. But before I get started, I do want to just ask a question. How streamlined is your process at the moment? So just want to kind of get a little poll going. If you have a system in place, just write yes. If you have a system in place, meaning do you have processes that you follow in order to complete your creative process and booking clients and proposal building and that kind of thing? Or no, you kind of just manage as you go. You're all over the place like I used to be. So yes or no, I just kind of want to see where we're at. I always like to ask these questions just to see, because I know a lot of people are just starting out or they're new in their business, and it really just helps me kind of gauge my presentation as well. So I don't know, let's see, we have a few. And if you can manage that for me, because I'm like having a hard time.
Yeah. So Tanya's saying yes. I have D saying manage as I go. Jan says yes to processes. She has something going on.
Good.
What else? I see there's 80 of you guys. Let's get some more answers out here. Do you guys, let's see. Anne says she almost does everything in QuickBooks Online, proposal, invoice, etc. Allison uses Excel. Diana says yes. So some people are using some things, but hopefully we can show them some things to help out. Someone's using Excel. Yes. Yeah, I used to be back in the day when because I did weddings and a long time ago, and I used Excel. I had a fancy dancy Excel sheet that I used, but I see that there's so many really cool apps out there. So
that's amazing. So I'm glad to hear that. And let me just preface by saying this, like if you don't have HoneyBook, you can still use this strategy with anything you're currently using, and it will simplify your life a little bit. For me, HoneyBook is just a one-stop shop where I can do everything and not have to use multiple different programs and systems. So just a little, note for you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to be showing you now is I'm going to jump into my slides in a little bit, but what I want to show you is how I create my proposal process. Really starts from the moment they contact me. My client experience also starts the moment that I get a lead. And so the way I gauge it is through an onboarding series for my clients. The brochures and the questionnaires feature in HoneyBook are also an automated feature that flow through after I'm contacted. After I do that, it goes into the questionnaire process, and then it goes into proposal, consultation, contract, And then I'm going to also talk about the workspaces, the email templates, and just client experience in general. Because I think for me, my number one goal is always customer service. And that's the first thing that I pride myself in, serving my client well. And in order to do that, they have to have a beautiful and smooth and flawless process throughout their wedding planning. So, so let me go ahead and get into the slides. The first thing, let me just, there we go. It's gonna mute for like a second, I think.
Yeah.
Fancy slides.
There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so let me see. I have to juggle two windows, so bear with me, guys. All right, so the first thing I always say is in order to, I'm gonna step out of the proposal process for a second. So definitely the biggest thing right now that you could do to change your business for the better is to have some sort of an opt-in on your website. So what that means in the simplest terms is having some sort of a subscription box on your website where people can opt in to get more, not just information, but also some sort of a bribe, I guess you can call it, or a freebie, where they're going to be compelled to want to give up their email address in order for an exchange of some sort of document. Now, the moment that you provide this exchange, you're capturing email addresses, and that can be done through a email marketing program like MailChimp or ConvertKit. I use ConvertKit personally. I just love it. It's really easy to use, and I kind of outgrew MailChimp. It just became a lot less expensive for me to do it that way. But you can definitely get email addresses collected there. And that is the system where you can start using automated email series that you can put together the moment that you're contacted. Now, so an onboarding series, or an onboarding email series, I should say, is basically a 5 to 7 email series. There could be email series for so many different things. I have email series for nurturing clients. I have email series to educate them about my business. I have them for brand indoctrination, to tell them about my business and what I'm all about. It just really allows your client to be able to connect with you, to be able to get to know you. And that is the most important thing, I think, for our clients, is having them build that trust. So when you write emails in these series that show your personality, the way you want to write them in the way you speak, they will need to sound like you, because that's going to showcase what kind of personality you have, and that's going to make that connection with your clients. It also provides transparency. So if you are honest in your process and you show some sort of vulnerability, it's going to make you seem a lot more like a real person, which is what I think people crave. They don't want to be pitched a sale all the time. It's like going to a car dealership you hate. I hate it, because that's all they want to do is sell you a car. They don't really give you time to get to know you or know the car or whatever. So in this case, it's your opportunity to really just let down that veil and let yourself go and just be vulnerable and get to know your clients, or let them get to know you. Okay, another thing, like I said, is providing the education. Of course, this is very important right now, because as we all know, a lot of these couples are getting married for the first time, so they really don't know how to do things or what to expect or even what to budget. And so I think that's the biggest missing link right now with a lot of the millennials and the younger couples. They just don't, they're going off of blog posts that are not always accurate, a lot of reports, consumer reports that are really super sad sometimes to read, when they're telling them that their budget should be $500 for flowers, or, and it's just really unrealistic. So if we take the opportunity to provide this education in the form of an email series, not only are they going to feel like you're giving them something, but you're also providing value. And when you do that, you've already established a relationship with them. And it's going to encourage engagement on their end as well, where they're going to want to interact and ask questions and meet you and book that consultation, and eventually fall in love with you and also want to do business with you. So an onboarding email series does all of these things. And like I said, the biggest thing is it establishes trust. And so when I get a lead, they get this email series automatically, and it's seamless. It happens on its own. I don't have to do anything except onboard them by including their email address in the series, and then the rest is history. And I love it. And this is This is something I started doing 6 years ago, email marketing and email automation and that kind of thing. And it's been just a huge game changer for me. Okay. Do you want me to continue or do you want me to like to stop in between?
I do have a question real quick from Carissa.
Yes.
She says, ConvertKit, is that the email service you use?
Yes, ConvertKit is the email that I recently switched to. The reason I say, I will share with you why I did that. I used to pay for MailChimp, and MailChimp is probably the easiest and the most affordable system that you can get started with if you don't already have your own email list to market to. But because I did it 6 years ago, I grew my list significantly. And so it was getting expensive because you have to pay per, after 1,000, I think it's after 1,000 members, they start to charge you more money. And when you want automated features, you also have to pay additional money for that. So one thing I personally did not like was that I was being charged double subscriptions. So if somebody was on 5 of my lists, I was getting charged 5 times for that email address. With ConvertKit, you can have that person's email address on 500 lists and you would only get charged 1 time. So MailChimp, I don't know if that has changed since I've left, but they're recognizing it as more than 1.
Right. It's changed a little bit. I use MailChimp, but we're a little bit different. You know, I have like almost 10,000 email addresses.
Yeah.
So and we can split our lists up. So it's like I have one big list and then I have segments within those lists, but it gets kind of complicated when you're dealing with that many.
Yeah, for me, that was a little too complicated. And so I just decided to move over to a different system. And I personally think it's just as easy, but it's definitely saving me more money because of the size of my list. So. But if you're starting, I do recommend MailChimp. I do like it just for starting. So once you reach over 1,000, then you can consider either segmenting or moving on. Okay, is that all on that one?
Yep, so far.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's move on, guys. So the next thing after I onboard so by the way, this is a 5 to 7 email series and I send 1 email a day. Now, I told you guys that I'm going to be providing you these templates at the end of the presentation. So this I won't get into detail how it works, but if you stay tuned, I will be providing those templates and directions on how to set it up. So hopefully you guys will find that valuable. Okay, so the next thing is when they get the lead, not only do they get the onboarding series through my ConvertKit provider, or email provider, they also get an automated brochure. So this is through HoneyBook. So this is where they are going to see what I have to offer. As a florist, I don't have packages. I think a lot of us can relate to that because everything nowadays is super custom, but it does note where my minimum starts at and what types of services and what exactly they can expect when they work with my team or if they work with me directly. So I have 2 offerings. It's my team offering and my direct work with Cristina offering, which is a different price point. And so they get a lot more interaction with me, a lot more meetings and design, sketches, and it's just definitely more hours that are invested to produce a one-of-a-kind, very unique event versus a team event is definitely a little more streamlined and, they have, some choices and my team handles it and I don't have to worry about it. So they not only see that, I also set the expectations, like I mentioned earlier, it includes my minimum. I say, this is where we start. This is what you're going to get. This is how many meetings you're going to get. This is the process. This is how it works. So it just right off the bat tells them, if you can afford this minimum and if you would like to go through this process, this is what it looks like. And you can select the package that you like and then we'll get back to you. So it's a really great thing because not only are you offering your offerings, you're setting expectations, but you're also providing that call to action. And I think that's the most important thing is giving them an option right there at the moment. So if you don't provide that call to action, you might never hear from them. They might just move on and they're going to continue price shopping or whatever it is they're doing. So definitely think about that. I said on here as well, offer price points, explain your process, include a client experience. And I do that. I say, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, I'm going to meet with you, I'm going to hold your hand here, I'm going to hold your hand there. So it provides this comfort and it's already establishing my client experience because they know they're not going to be left in the dark. Okay, any questions with that?
No, I think that's great, but I do have another question kind of relating to your previous slide from Christine. Let me bring
Sure.
that up. So she says, what really enticing freebies can you recommend for a wedding planner to offer as an incentive for getting their email?
Oh gosh, there's so many, you guys. Okay, so for a wedding planner, you might want to recommend a budget calculator, or maybe a timeline for like a sample timeline of what their wedding should look like or could look like, or maybe like a list of top 10 things to avoid in their wedding planning process. You know, something that is it has to be very catchy. It has to be almost fear driven. I hate to say that, but it's true. I think when people see titles that are fear driven, they're more likely to want to opt in because they want to avoid catastrophe for their big day, versus top 5 things to do to your wedding. They want to do top 5 things to avoid on their wedding. So think of it in that way, or just definitely just a useful, valuable tool that they're going to want to use for their wedding planning. What I provide is a design guide. It's like a 30-page guide that I put together. It includes floral selections, when they're in season, what price points they what price points they start at. I included just different photo inspirations for each kind of wedding look that's popular at the moment, a notes page, a floral dictionary so they know what, you know, if they don't know what a huppah is, then it explains it right there. What is a huppah, or a posy, you know, or, you know, things like that. So I brainstorm, like, what is it that I can provide my clients? What sort of value? I'm thinking these brides don't know much, so they don't have much information. So create something that's going to educate them in their planning process, and definitely put it together. You can do it on a PDF. You can create a Word file and save it as a PDF. I use PowerPoint to create all my freebies, and then I just save it as a PDF. But there's different programs. I think Canva, you can easily create stuff out there as well. It's free. It's a free resource. Or if you want to get fancy, you can buy templates and just customize them as well.
Yeah, we love Canva for design things.
Mm-hmm. It's so awesome.
Do you hear that feedback? Can you guys hear that? No, just on my end? Okay. Sorry, go ahead. I'm going to post the link for Canva for everyone, but my whole team uses it all of the time.
Yeah, I love it. I just started using it because it's just easier.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. Awesome. Okay, so let me just backtrack. So I get a lead, they get my onboarding email series, and they get this automated brochure, and the process is started immediately. So after they do that, it goes into questionnaire. So the moment that they select a package that they're interested in the brochure, it's either team package or it's directly work with Cristina package. So when I know that they are willing to work with my minimum, whichever one they picked, and when I know that they're willing to work with my expectations and my rules and whatever you want to call them, then this is where I actually personally send them the questionnaire. Now, if you don't want to do the brochure process with HoneyBook, you can just automatically send them this questionnaire. And this questionnaire is definitely more detailed than the one that's on my website. The one on my website is like 5 or 6 questions only, but my other questionnaire is completely detailed. It asks so many other questions, and it provides them different things to think about that they might not be thinking about, but it helps me really visualize what they're looking for and how I can make their wedding day possible. But it's also a way for me to qualify my client, because a lot of the times they'll select, my brochure, and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm okay with your minimum. And then they'll list it in the questionnaire that they only want to spend this much, and it might not be my minimum. So that goes into a different process after that. But the questionnaire is really great for, getting the bride and groom information. Obviously, I like to collect not only their name and their emails, but their phone numbers. I like their address, because then I can send gifting items. That's part of my client experience. I like to send gifts, in the beginning and in the middle and the end of the process. I also like to follow them on social media. That way, I can start posting things as the wedding gets closer. I'll tag them, and then they'll reshare it. And so it's just a big opportunity for you to put your name out there with your clients, raving about you. So if you collect this information from the get-go, you don't ever have to ask for it. It's just there. which just makes it super, super easy. The next thing that I collect, and I think I'm sorry, I mentioned social media handles, event details, obviously, you know, just getting everything. And this just goes way more into detail, not just the venue, but like, where is it, the address, that kind of thing. I also ask them if they have an event hashtag, because I'll start using it the moment I start posting about their wedding. I also ask them who is their photographer and their wedding planner. Those are the two professionals that I feel are the most important in terms of myself to know or reach out to, because the wedding planner is going to provide me with details and the photographer is going to provide me with images. So I usually want to know who those two people are, not only just for me to contact later, but also for me to kind of get an idea of who they're hiring. So, you know, a lot of the times we are very familiar with vendors, or I'm sorry, the providers that are in their area. And so if I know they're hiring, you know, a wedding planner that does luxury weddings, then I know that their expectation is going to be definitely more high end, and I'm going to definitely want to meet that expectation. Or I can say, oh, you know what, they're hiring their cousin for their wedding, and this might not be my ideal client because, you know, I'm going to want a professional to take photos or whatever it is. So it's very much a qualifying opportunity for me. A month before their wedding, I also send a questionnaire, and that's where I gather all their final details. And that's just another questionnaire that really allows me to get every single detail down, especially because, you know, there's so many changes throughout the wedding, including bridal party changes or just, you know, delivery times, things like that. So it's just very helpful to have these details a month in advance on my end. Okay, and then I also ask them in these questionnaires permission to share their, not only their testimonial if they do provide one, but also any images that I collect, that kind of stuff. And also I ask for permission to add them to my email marketing list so that they can continue to get information from me. So I create a separate list for clients that are either a lead or they're booked or they've been married. I segment them in that way, and I know what to market to them. So it's really helpful. Okay, and then lastly, oh, I already said permission to add to the list. So if you gather all of this information in a questionnaire, you'll never have to do it again. And I think that's the most important thing I've learned. And it's cut down my time and having to like hunt them down for social media handles or who's your wedding planner, who's your photographer. It's just so much easier. It cuts so much time, and it just makes it that much more organized. Any questions about the questionnaires?
No questions. Ryan was just saying, great idea on asking permission questions before the wedding. I think that's a great thing to do too. Like, just get it out of the way so you're not backtracking and be like, oh, by the way, can we do this? I think it just saves a lot of time, just that in itself. There was other questions too, but I think you might have already answered it. Someone was asking kind of what kind of presents do you send them? What are some gifts you send?
Okay, so here's another thing about my questionnaire. I like to get to know my clients. That's why I follow them on social media, because it gives me a big idea of who they are and what they like. And so my gifts are very custom. So if I know that someone is a Star Wars geek like myself, I'm gonna do a Star Wars gift of some sort. That's the first gift.
Oh, very cool.
A welcome gift and with something cute like that. Midway through my process, I'll do something like movie tickets, like enjoy a movie on me, date night, you know, or, you know, In-N-Out Burger date night or something like that, you know. And at the end, it's a thank you gift, just thanking them for, you know, booking me and allowing me to be part of their day. But I like to include some sort of customization in that kind of way, where I know that if they love Snickers, I'm going to include some Snicker bars, you know. So just asking that question, you might want to ask 3 little questions in your questionnaire, like, what's your favorite candy? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? You know, and that'll give you ideas on what to buy. It just makes it that much more special. And if you are all sending everyone the same gift, that's okay too, because I know you buy things in bulk, like candles or, you know, champagne bottles and stuff, but I like to be a little more personalized. I think it just makes that connection a little more real for me anyway.
Awesome. Great idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so after the questionnaire, let me find where I'm at here, comes the proposal. So I don't know if this is working. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so this is the best part of HoneyBook for me, because before I had this Excel document and I had to, you know, resave it and then save again and save another draft. If I make any changes, it's now draft 2, and then it's draft up to like 7 by the end of the year. It's like I had like 20 drafts of one person. but you know, I had 20 files on that person in an Excel document. With HoneyBook, any change you make is just automatically saved, and you can go back to this other drafts that you had previously. So it's really, really nice. The proposals that I have created in HoneyBook, HoneyBook will provide you with like a basic template. Everything's 100% customizable. And what I wanted is I wanted essentially my Excel document, because it took me so many years to perfect. It was very detailed and very much, you know, sectioned and itemized the way I love to work with, you know, with my proposals. So I essentially created that in HoneyBook. And even though it's a really long proposal, I know some people think that it's crazy looking because it's 12 sections long. It just works for me, and it also helps my client see all the details clearly, and there's no confusion. They know exactly what they're paying for. It's all broken down, itemized beautifully, and there's photos and everything provided. So another good thing about me is, or the proposal, because my business, I don't just offer florals. I offer rentals. I offer linens. I offer other services that are not taxable. So with HoneyBook, you can select which items are taxable, and of course that's just the floral stuff, right? So it only will do that. Before, I had to do the math in Excel, and I had to create a formula, and that was a headache in itself. So HoneyBook now does that for me. I don't have to worry about overcharging on the tax, and I know exactly how much tax I have to pay in the end. And in additional services, like I mentioned, I provide rentals. So my proposal has a separate section where they could see the other things that I offer, like pedestals or vase rentals or candles or candelabras. So they might not want that at the moment, but as what I find is that as time goes on, they continue Pinteresting or seeing ideas, and they all of a sudden get this bright idea that they want, you know, a candelabra. And when they already see that in my proposal that I offer it, they just come directly to me. They ask me for it, and they know the price because the price is already on there. It's kind of like a price guide almost / proposal. And then at the end, whatever they don't end up booking, so if they don't book up any rentals, then I just remove the item. It's a package that you can just delete in bulk on the proposal. So it's really nice. And I know this sounds like a bunch of, I don't know if this is making any sense because I know it's such a visual, but it's something that just, in my opinion, having itemized or packaged services in HoneyBook is very, very much helpful for us florists, because I don't know if anyone out there does packages where, hey, this package is $5,000 and you just write what's included. That is hard for me to do. I rather have a line item for everything that I do, and then whatever doesn't get booked, then I can just remove it and delete it. It's that easy. I also include in the proposal a separate line item for delivery, a separate line item for installation. I find that when you have, people don't haggle installation or delivery for some reason. I think they just understand that we have to charge for mileage, and they understand that in order to put their wedding together, it's 20, well, I charge a minimum of 20%. Sometimes it can go up to 30% depending on the installation, but they're aware of that. But if I do a very, like, let's just say I do a centerpiece at $200, plus, you know, the labor charge on top of that, they're not going to really haggle me because they know that that labor is included. But if you're including labor in the price of your centerpiece, so if your centerpiece is now $300 with labor included, they're going to haggle you for the $300 price. So I've kind of found that it's very helpful to separate the two and just lower your centerpiece price a little bit to where the labor is not included, or the installation. So just a little tip. I find that very helpful. And then promotional items. So I don't call my freebies discounts, so I don't call them anything like that. I like to call them promotional items. So at the bottom of my proposal, there's a section that says, if you book within 72 hours, because that's all I allow, 3 days, you are going to get this promotional item, a free toss bouquet, whatever you guys want to do. These are items that are very low margin for me. You know, a toss bouquet, we can make it very, very, for like $10 in cost maybe, right? Sometimes I include votive candles, so those are also fairly inexpensive. But for the client, this is just a bonus. It's an offering that you're giving them for free for booking you. It sweetens the deal. It just makes it pretty, you know, effortless to make the sale at this point. So make sure you outline promotional items in the contract, because they're going to always look back to that and remember, hey, you know, if I book within 3 days or 5 days or whatever your terms are, they're going to want to take advantage of those things, and they're going to want to close the sale before that promotional item expires. Okay, let's see here.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Jonna wants to know, are you saying your rental offerings / options are included on your proposal in a way that aren't added into the total yet?
Yes. So instead of putting a quantity, I just have a 0 quantity in everything that I offer. So there's a section, like section 7 is linens for me. So I'll put, okay, linen for a round table, 120-inch round is this much. Long tablecloth, this much. And then I'll have runners, this much. Napkins, this much. And it just has the price, but it has a 0 quantity. But because I'm trying to upsell, they'll have that always come their way. I don't have a separate price guide. They just always see it in their proposal, and it's always on their mind. And it happens. Some brides will tell me, oh, I don't need linens. I'm using the ones at the venue. But then like 5 months later, they're like, hey, I noticed you do linens. What does it cost for like a black linen or whatever? And that's when I can upsell and say, hey, you know, yeah, here it is. It's $32, and how many, I'm going to put the quantity that you need, and then that makes the upsell. So just leave everything at a 0 quantity.
That's great. And then Bonita wants to know also, when do you share contract details?
Yeah, so once I have the proposal ready to go, based on the questionnaire that they provided, I don't send estimates out without meeting with them first. So I meet with the client, I schedule the consultation, and the proposal is ready to go. I've already worked on it. I had enough details from the questionnaire to prepare it. And so when I meet with them in the consultation, I present it and I say, here's what I came up with based on your information, based on your details, and what I think will look the best to achieve this look. Here's what I have, and we'll make the changes during our consultation. I'm like, oh, I no longer have 5 bridesmaids. I only have 3, so I'll make the changes. Quantity changes, detail, colors, those kinds of things I'll change. And then I present to them the contracts, and I also tell them, I go through it a little bit just to kind of familiarize them with it. And I also present the opportunity to make the sale, and that's when I offer the promotional items or any kind of, you know, incentives if they book on the spot, or, you know, I tell them they only have 3 days to take advantage of these little promotional items. But my proposals are good for a total of 7 days. So after the first on-the-spot booking, they lose this promotional item. And then after 3 days, they lose all of these. And then after 7 days, I can no longer promise their wedding date won't be on hold anymore. And I will not, their pricing could change if they decide to come back to me in 3 months. You know, it's not going to be the same price, most likely. Or I could be booked. So those are all the things that I mentioned to them. You know, like, we book on a first come first served basis, where we only take on a certain amount of events per year. So this is what you need to know. So I would say at the consultation, to answer your question.
Okay, great, awesome, thank you.
Okay, so let me move on here. The next thing that I truly love, and I feel that it has allowed me to close more sales in HoneyBook, is their payment plan system. So before, it would take me maybe days to create a proposal and finally get it back to them. The problem with that is that the warm lead is no longer a warm lead. They've already had enough time to research other florists in the area. They've probably already met with a few, and maybe, just maybe, they've already booked another one. So you technically lose the sale the moment they walk out that consultation. I like to offer the opportunity to tell them, hey, if you book now or within 3 days, here's what's going to happen. But a lot of the times it's the payment that holds them back. If it's a $6,000 contract, they kind of freak out when they see that lump sum at the bottom. And before, my payment plan was only 4 payments. It was like an initial deposit, retainer, whatever you want to call it. And then it was 2 payments after that, and it was the final payment. And so I found that that was hard to do, because obviously these people are paying for so many providers at the same time. They have limited budgets. So I offer a payment plan now. All of my clients are set up on a monthly payment. So their payments are due to me on the 1st of every month. And the nice thing about HoneyBook is that not only are the payments broken down into whatever many months you want it to be, you can also have them set up their credit card automated payments. So I no longer have that awkward conversation or email go out asking for money, like, hey, you're 5 days late. And also me, you know, I can't remember unless it's in my calendar, to ask for money. And that was my problem 6 years ago, is that I would forget to collect funds sometimes because I was so bombarded with my teaching job and I was like juggling, 60 clients. And so now I don't have to ask for money. Everything's automated. I get paid and I don't even know it. And so I wake up to emails that tell me I have money. It's like amazing. It's the best thing in the world. So this has been a huge selling point for me. I collect the retainer, like I said, monthly payments, their final balance, even late payments. They know my late payment schedule. So if they're late, I'll just add another payment in here. I'll add the payment in the proposal, and then it just adds it at the bottom, and then they have to just pay it. And guess what? I don't ever have to do late payments anymore because no one's ever late. So it's beautiful. It's lovely. It is a 3% fee with HoneyBook. They do use Stripe as their merchant. But you know what? 3% is really nothing for all the peace of mind that I have to deal with. And if you absorb those costs, if you're legally able to, if you're legally able to pass them on to your clients, then definitely you can do that. I know a lot of states don't allow that. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to do that, so I have to absorb the cost. Or, there's other florists that I have chatted with who actually embed the cost somehow. So if they have to raise their prices a little bit to cover that cost, then you have to do that. It's just the cost of doing business.
Right, that's good. I have a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
Ryan wants to know, could you explain more about how you only allow them to book within 72 hours? Do you block their date for that time? And what if they come after 72 hours?
Okay, so yes, I allow, with every new person that I meet, if I took the time to prepare a proposal and meet with them in a consultation, I will hold their day for 7 days total. And the reason why I do 3 days, 72 hours, is because it makes it an irresistible offer. It has a deadline. It expires at a certain point. And when you have an expiration date tied to anything, people are most likely to make decisions faster. So I found that when I was just saying, hey, you get a free toss bouquet, I wouldn't hear back from them because it didn't matter. It was always there for them if they booked. But when I say, oh, if you want XYZ included for free, to book as a promotional incentive, then you only have 3 days to take advantage of this offer. It's kind of like, it's psychologically, it's like Black Friday. You only have 1 day to shop, 50% off. Everyone goes into a frenzy because there's only 1 day that you can get special deals. So it's kind of the same psychological strategy, I would say. And after the 7 days, if they come back 2 months later and I'm still available, then I do revise the contract and I do look to see if it's still profitable. And if I know that flowers, if their vision has changed and they need they need to update, then I will do the updates and they'll have to book accordingly to whatever updates I make.
That's great. I also have another question from Christine. She says, do you allow them to take written proposals with them after your meeting with them if they don't hire you on the spot?
Yes, so this is a big thing for me, and I'm going to share something with you guys. We all have floral designers in our areas, and yes, I love the movement of community over competition. I truly believe in that, but we are looking to book business, and it's all about business. But it got to a certain point where I was spending hours upon hours creating these proposals, finding images on Pinterest that would look best, and it was just so much time invested. And only for them to take my file to another florist and then they duplicate and undercut me. And that would really make me upset because I would know that it was my design because everything I do is custom. And so when I started seeing things posted online by other people and it happened to be their wedding and the same wedding date, I knew that my ideas were being taken. So I have it in my proposal. It's one of my contract clauses that all of my contract is copyrighted. It's definitely my property, my designs, my sketches, everything is mine. It belongs to Posh Peony, and I make it known that they're not allowed to share this information with anybody. So another thing about HoneyBook that's excellent is that you can expire the contract. So after the expiration date, they no longer have access to it. Now, if they take the initiative to print it out and that kind of stuff, it doesn't print with images. So that's kind of like the good thing also. They'll have pricing that they could share with other florists, which is fine. You're like, I don't matter. But my designs and my ideas, like that's the stuff that kind of hurts, because you invest so much time in creating something, and for them to take it to someone else and then they do it for less, it's just really disappointing sometimes. So I no longer have that problem. That was my problem 6 years ago. So, you know, these are just things that happened to me in the past that I'm sharing with you guys. But nowadays it's like, you know, you have your parameters. If they can't meet your minimums, if they don't have the same vision, if they can't afford you, then they're not your ideal client, and that's not, and you shouldn't be working with them. They should be working with people who can make that vision come to life for whatever budget they're trying to do. And so, yeah, I would definitely protect your work if you can.
Awesome. I have one more question from Christine again, kind of piggybacking off of Ryan's previous question. She wants to know, if they come back weeks or months later, do you offer them promotional items within the 3 days again?
It really depends. I definitely say no. But if their contract remains at the same, you know, minimum or even higher because of their changes and that kind of thing. And if you just really love them, then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to give you a toss bouquet. But I try not to, because I'm really stern about my policy. And it also depends. If I have another wedding that weekend that's using whatever rental I offered them before, then I have to say no, because it's already booked under another client, or it's going to be in use, or that kind of thing. So just if it's available and they're awesome about it, and I want to book them and really, really want to like take on this event, then I will offer some sort of an incentive.
All right, and the questions are still rolling in. I have one from Carissa now, and she said, and so your questionnaire is detailed enough to get specifics on design style and elements without taking it through with them first. And the images are yours or researched images?
Absolutely, yes. So like I said, my questionnaire is really detailed. So yeah, it's enough information to provide a baseline design that will eventually, you know, things evolve over time, but it's enough for me to give them a price point to book me. A lot of the images are my own, because we have so much work that we've done, and if I want to stick to a certain aesthetic and I can't find something in my own library, then I will look at Pinterest and I will reference it as an inspiration item. And I do tell them, I say, this is a Pinterest, like this is not my work, but this is what I can do, something similar, something to the, you know, mostly for color inspiration is what I do Pinterest for. Is not an exact. I always say nothing will ever be exact in Pinterest with us. Everything's custom. So, you know, if you're going to look for inspiration, you have to really point out what it is you're pointing out in this photo. If it's color, size, style, make it known, because then they're going to want that photo for their wedding. And I don't like doing that. So.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me see where I'm at here. Okay, so I'm in the contract now. So after, like I said, the proposal is one thing. It's the services you're providing. But then when you start talking about the contract, and I do share it with them, I say, if you guys can read this, I don't know, but this is like my little copyrighted little blurb here at the top of my contract, if you guys want to see that. But yeah, I tell them, I go through the contract, I go over the dates, I talk about the event location just to make sure, or I include it just to make sure it's on there. I go through all the clauses. I don't go into detail. I say they have to read them at home and they can get back to me with any questions, but I do go over a few of them, like seasonality and setup times. I do collect credit card information on my contract, and it has to be a valid credit card that's not going to expire within their contract time, because if I have to charge them for any damages, it's on there. They have to initial every single clause I provide, and it has the signature. And the beauty behind the contract on HoneyBook is that the e-signature. So before, you know, I had to have them fax it to me, mail it to me, and it was just so much paperwork for me to have to file, and then try to locate was impossible sometimes, because it's, you know, once you go paperless, it's amazing. And HoneyBook, everything's just hosted in one place. So I can refer back to the contract and make sure that it's initialed and signed and everything's good to go before I even do their event. Okay, and you can collect as multiple signatures. So if there's 2 people signing off on the contract, you can add a second signature, or you can just leave it at 1. Any questions with the contract?
So far, so good.
Yeah, my contract's very detailed, guys. Oh yeah, then you have to countersign. And one thing I learned, always countersign with your business name, not your whatever you're doing business under is what you should be countersizing. So I'm an LLC, so I sign as Posh Peony LLC, never Cristina Barragan or never my assistant or anything like that. It has to be under that. So make sure you're doing that as well. All right. So if they book, you know, that whole process happens. They sign the contract and they're on my calendar and the process just begins. But another feature about HoneyBook that I wanted to share with you that is just amazing in terms of client experience is their workspaces. So every single client gets like some sort of a portal that you can have access to. You can really basically is keeping all the communication in one place. So before HoneyBook, all of my communication was in Gmail, and locating emails was almost impossible sometimes. I couldn't find certain details. I couldn't find if I had replied. It was a mess. And with HoneyBook, everything is just in this beautiful workspace. You can scroll all the way down to the beginning when communication started. You know, with us florists, it's usually 8 to 12 months, right? We have all these emails and messages going back and forth. Well, here, it's like sometimes they'll say, well, I mentioned this back in May, and I'm like, well, I don't know. And so I can look in May and be like, oh, yeah, she did mention that. I will note it, or whatever the case might be. But it's really nice because of that. It's a creative space for you and your team as well. So here where it says empty workspace, if you guys can see in the slide, this little plus sign, you can add as many workspaces as you want. So if you want to have a workspace between you and the wedding planner, you can totally do that. Or you and your team, you can as well do that as well. Sometimes I've had private workspaces with the grooms because they want to surprise the brides with something. So we'll communicate on a separate window, but it all stays in their account. So I don't have to search emails anymore. Everything is beautifully organized. And also, like I said, you can have private or shared spaces. So you can add as many people as you want to add. Usually I add the parents on there as well. If they're paying for stuff, they want to see the contract so they know what they're paying for, that kind of thing. And, oh, sorry. Did anyone have questions about that one?
I do have a couple more questions. Megan wants to know, do you sign the contract before you send the proposal?
Well, the contract is the only thing that gets a signature. The proposal is just an outline of the services you're providing. So once they sign it and accept it and make their retainer payment, then I countersign and send it back to them.
Okay.
And then HoneyBook will tell you to do that, by the way. It's like all like a process with HoneyBook.
And then also Megan says, she says, I have a client that can't seem to sign the proposal and send it back. This is my first time sending out the proposal.
She doesn't want to sign it, or she can't sign it?
I am not sure. Can't seem to sign it. Megan, can you let us know what you mean?
Yeah, if she's having trouble, it might be some sort of a glitch that you might have to contact HoneyBook for. I'm not sure about that, but if she's not signing it because she doesn't want to commit, then that's why, like I said, expiration dates are important. If there's an expiration date tied to your proposal, I'm certain she would be signing it by now. Otherwise, you scare them away by saying, okay, well, I'm gonna get booked. After 7 days, I can't promise you this proposal anymore. I can't promise you this package. I can't promise you this pricing, and I might be booked. So that's definitely where you wanna set that up somehow.
Yeah, I love the expiration. I just like having the dates. I think that's great. And then Kaya, she says, what do you use for floral orders, counts, and recipes? Can you use HoneyBook for that as well?
Okay, you guys are probably gonna laugh at me with my answer, but this is the part of my business where I'm still very much old school. I don't know. I am such an old school person about orders and recipes. I like to handwrite everything. And I have seen incredible systems out there. I've tried Stem Counter and I've tried Details Flowers. Those systems are both amazing and I love them, but I don't know. I'm still stuck in my old ways when it comes to that. I feel that handwriting it is just, I don't know, it makes me feel just that much more organized when I do it and not like have a system do it. The reason why I haven't moved on is because I'm still stuck in my ways, but I'm getting ready to adopt something that's going to provide stem counts and recipes. The only reason why is because I have a staff. My staff is growing. And so if I can just print out recipes and not handwrite them anymore, it'd be amazing. But I think that those programs are great, especially for new florists who don't really have a hand on their recipes quite yet, or their pricing modules or their schedules. I have a huge hand in that already. I already know what my pricing looks like. I already know what flowers cost. I know how many stems things, you know, I need for a bridal bouquet versus a bridesmaid. Like all of that knowledge is in my head, which is helpful. But because I am automating my systems and my processes, I hope to, like I said, I'm going to be adopting something soon, because if anything were to happen to me, God forbid, I would like something to be left behind where, you know, everything's noted and organized and people could just pick up where I left off and that kind of thing. So to answer your question, I'm still very old school. And I kind of hate to admit it, but I am.
That's all right.
It just works for me, I guess. Okay. Anything else with the workspaces or anything? We good to move on?
I think we're good to move on because we're running short on time.
Okay.
All these questions have been amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so the last couple things about HoneyBook that I just wanted to touch on are the email templates. Just the templates in HoneyBook in general have been super helpful. I have an email template. HoneyBook thinks I'm crazy because I share with them. I have over 80 templates, okay, guys? I have an email template for every kind of situation you can think of. So I have email templates to talk about destination weddings, below budget weddings, you know, if I'm going to be traveling 5 hours away for a wedding, you know, that kind of thing. So it's also a way for me to answer frequently asked questions. So if I get a question, the same questions that I keep getting over and over, I basically created a template for them. Instead of having to answer the same question over and over and over, why not have a template that's ready to go, right? So that's a nice thing to have. My emails are all personalized. They sound like me. They have call to action so that they know what to do. They're personalized so they don't seem so robotic and so, you know, template-y, but I know it still doesn't matter. Some people still know it's a template, but either way, it saves you so much time. And like I said, the call to action, a lot of my templates have links to like my calendar, links to social media, those types of things so that they know what to do with that information. And it just helps boost your social media following. For me, the Calendly, I don't know if you guys are familiar with let me say this slowly, Calendly. It's a calendar service that basically allows your clients to book and cancel and reschedule appointments whenever they want and based on your parameters. It has been such a time saver for me. I don't have to go back and forth to schedule appointments anymore. So my email templates include a link to my personal calendar, and it's really nice to have that. Also, custom signature. You can now customize your signature. I know that HoneyBook just came out with a huge update, lots of updates. And that's one thing I love about HoneyBook. They're constantly updating their system, constantly. And one of the things they just added is an email signature where you can add your logo and make it all pretty. Before they did all that, I kind of found a way to do it myself. I just copied and pasted into my templates and it was fine. So that was just my way around it. Also, a new update is integration with Gmail. So now your emails come directly from you and no longer HoneyBook. So it's just nice and personalized. Okay. Oh, and yes, another update, you guys. Oh my gosh, this is the best one. Your clients, you can see when they read your emails now. So it's really nice because before it's this huge guessing game. Like, did they get my proposal? Did they get my message? And now when they actually look at it, it says on the bottom, seen, so you know. And so when I see that and they haven't responded to me in 2 days, I'll send them a template that basically says, hey, I noticed you saw my email and, you know, I'm just following up on XYZ. And it's just really great because now there's no question about it. If your emails are getting lost or if they're going into spam, you know, like it's just a peace of mind for myself.
I love that. Our CRM does that too. And I can see when people are opening up my emails. Or if I sent an email last week, it'll tell me if they're reading it right now, which is really cool. And it'll be like, it'll remind me something. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that. They're looking at that right now. I love it.
So cool.
And I use HubSpot. We're, again, a little bit different, but we use HubSpot for our CRM. And it's
that's
really
so cool.
Things like that.
That's amazing. Yeah. And also with HoneyBook, there's a little indicator now that shows when they're online and when you're online. So, I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword because they can see that you're online too, but you can at least know that they're online. So it's kind of creepy, but cool at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay. And lastly, and I promise this is the last thing, my client experience. And so, like I said, every single thing that I do in HoneyBook, every single process that I have talked to you guys about, just, you know, has everything to do with my client process, or I'm sorry, my client experience. So from the moment they get my series, my templates, the consultation process, which I didn't really go into, but that whole thing is client experience as well, gifting, the workspaces, the ease and organization of the workspaces, the payment plans, which provides that flexibility. And then also the way I capture reviews after the wedding, because that's huge, right? We want people to provide testimonials. It's all embedded in HoneyBook and my process and the way I do things. And so it has allowed me to create just a seamless client experience where my clients truly trust me. They truly want to do business with me. They don't want to just book me. They want me to do their wedding. And so that's what we want. We want our clients who want us, and not just because they can't afford us, but because they want us to be in their wedding and be part of their wedding. And so I feel that the shift in my business in the last 3 years, because I've focused so much on client experience, has been attracting that ideal client where I'm going to be working and being excited for every event that I do, because I truly love my clients and they truly love me back. And so before, I had events where I wasn't excited and I truly hated my job, and I almost got to the point where I wanted to quit my business because it was getting so frustrating and so stressful. But all of these little things that I put into play have been amazing and truly rewarding. And so I do urge you guys to take that into consideration. Customer service should definitely be number one in your business, because that's really going to make the difference. All right. Any other questions before I move on to the free gift?
How about we do the free gift, and then if there's anyone else that wants to stay on, because I do have a few other questions, and then we can do those real quick if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm a HoneyBook business coach and educator. And the reason why is because I, as a teacher at heart, I love to teach. I teach workshops, I mentor, I do so many different things with different entrepreneurs that are at different levels in their business. And because I am so drawn to that, I decided to join the HoneyBook team and be an educator and a business coach. And so I would like to offer you guys, if you're not a HoneyBook member already, you can get 20% off. And not only that, my email series templates that I had told you guys about. So if you want to text the phrase free temp, and make sure it's one word, just like that, free temp, to the number 44222, you will be sent my nurture email series. And it's 5 templates of, basically it'll tell you what to do exactly, how to nurture your clients the moment you get a new lead, you're going to pop them into MailChimp, pop them into your automated email series, and they're going to start getting this automated series that's going to nurture them to getting to know your business, what you're about, educate them about your business, and really just try to get them to book that consultation and where you can start the entire creative process with them. So it's something I've been using for the past 6 years. I truly stand behind it. It works for me. It works for a lot of people that have used it already. So I hope you guys get some value in that. And the link below is, if you want to take advantage of that 20% off, then you can use this link here to get that. And that's it.
Great. I'm just putting in the text number in the comments in the chat, and also the link for the HoneyBook discount. And let me look for that other question here. There was one in the comments. Oh, someone wants to know, do you ask them to review you during your process?
Yes. So it's funny because I just did a blog post with Stem Counter talking about reviews. And so during my consultation, I get into my reviews and my testimonials. I say, look, here's a little bit about my business. And I just want you to know that customer service is 100%, 120%, like super important to me. I want to make sure that I serve you well. I want to make sure that we are a good fit from the get-go, and that we're going to work together in planning this dream wedding of yours. And I really would like to be part of it, but I also want to learn from you. And so I say, all of my clients, I expect them to leave me a review at the end of their process. I provide them with the links. I tell them, I actually pull up a few reviews on like Wedding Wire or The Knot or something, and I say, look, these are all people that have testimonials to me and being part of their wedding and what it was like for them. So I invite you to take the time to read them and look at them for yourself and see what you think. And that just really, like I said, provides that vulnerability, because a lot of my reviews, although they're very positive and amazing, they're not all perfect. Some of them will be 4 out of 5 stars for XYZ reason or whatever. And that's okay, because I think that tells them you're not a perfect person, right? No one's perfect, but we do our best to make everything still look the best and provide you with 100% service and that kind of thing. And after their wedding, I have an email template that's set up to go out after and thanking them for being part of the wedding. Their gift goes out, and then 7 days later I send a template requesting the review, and I just basically ask for the review and tell them why it's important to me and would mean a lot to me if they took the time to do it, and I provide the links where they could do it. It's just excellent, and I think if you don't ask it, it'll never happen, because I think feel that after the wedding, even if you did an amazing job and you went over and beyond, you just always think that they're going to leave you a review. But guess what? They get caught up in their honeymoon. They get caught up in married life, and they just don't even think about that anymore. They're so over their wedding. And so if we don't ask for the review, you may never get it. And that's the perfect opportunity to do that.
That's great. Can I have you switch off the screen share?
Oh yeah. Let me go back here.
Thank
Here
you.
I am.
Awesome. All right, I have a couple more questions. Let's see. Kelly, again, she was asking about easy or inexpensive stem count program. We talked about that a little bit, and I posted a link a couple times in the chat, and I'll make sure that it's shared with the replay of this. But we have a summary blog of reviewing a lot of the different floral apps that are out there. But if you want to talk about that real quick, Cristina, that would be great.
Yeah, so both of those, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what they cost at this point. I know they've gone through changes and they've all evolved after a few months. I've tried Stem Counter maybe a year ago. Same thing with Details Flowers. They're both excellent programs. I think they both have their unique customizations and types of services. I'm not even sure, but I think the blog post you guys have is probably the best to look at for comparisons. And if you provide that, I think it'll be very helpful. But I think those are the two leading ones, in my opinion, that will do just about everything that HoneyBook can do. HoneyBook does not, I didn't answer that question. HoneyBook doesn't do stem counts. And I'm okay with that because I don't need that right now in my business. But if I'm going to be evolving and continue to scale and grow my business, then I definitely want something that someone can do. I don't always want to do consultations. It takes a lot of time and effort. I'd like to hire a sales team eventually to do them for me. And if I have this system in place, then they can definitely do it without my authorization per se, because the recipes are saved and the pricing is also saved.
Great, great. Do you have more time, Cristina, or do you need to go? I know we're running over and I have a few more questions, but if we don't have time, I can always get the answers up on our blog.
I'm good.
Okay.
If everyone is good.
All right. Yeah, we're still over 60 strong, so it's good. So Anne wants to know, do you essentially use HoneyBook as your email client? Meaning I have Office 365 through GoDaddy for web and email hosting. Would I just use HoneyBook for reading, writing email, but the emails would not show HoneyBook as part of the process?
I do. I no longer encourage Gmail, and because I don't like things to get lost. So if a client happens to email me directly to my Gmail address, or my Cristina@poshpeony.com, which is essentially Gmail, what I do is I copy and paste the message, and I go back into the workspace in HoneyBook. I paste it in there just so I know what they said, and then I respond back there. And I encourage them. I say, hey, please continue the conversation here, because it's going to help me document everything, and it's going to make sure that everything's in one place.
Great, great. And then Christine wants to know, what did you say HubSpot is? And that's what I use in my process. We use HubSpot as a CRM, but they have it's a huge system. They do marketing, SEO stuff, forms, and all of that. But the CRM is free. And so that's pretty cool. They have some add-ons and things like that. And it's pretty amazing. And then there's a little add-on for Outlook, so that's what tells me when people are reading my emails and things like that, which is nice.
They have a lot of free resources too that are really great.
They really do. All of their marketing resources are amazing, and that's kind of part of the whole content marketing that they're really big into. Okay, and then I think I got to check the chat, but I think this might be the last question from me. She wants to know, can you repeat what category you put the time frame for booking under for people to book with you within 72 hours?
Oh, promotions. So after personals, ceremony, reception, linens, rentals, I'm telling you, there's 12 sections. I have a section at the very bottom that says promotional incentives, and it lists everything that I give them included in that 72-hour, because I make sure they know, like, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, and I'm super detailed about it, and I have pictures and everything. And if they don't book it, I delete it. I delete the whole chunk of it. That makes it so easy.
Awesome. Awesome. And then Charmaine wants to know, do you do mentorship? Because apparently you're really awesome and rocking at this, which we already knew, but it's fun to share that with, your closest 80 people on the internet.
Yeah, so sweet. Yes, I do mentorship, but it's very limited because I do teach workshops. I'm actually teaching this weekend at Intrigue Experience in the East Coast, so I'm really excited about that. But I'm very limited. I only take about 3 clients per year. I currently have 2, so I do have a spot, but it's very limited because of time, and I do want to I have to qualify you and see what your needs are and see if I can even help you before I get started, but definitely reach out to me.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, Intrigue's pretty cool. I know you're going to be there. And our Beth O'Reilly, she was one of our design stars and actually manages our Houston branch now. She's going to be there too, doing floral design demos and all of that. So that's going to be pretty amazing. And then I'm going to, one more, let's see, and then we're done.
Yay.
Oh, Susan wants to know, can I add this in HoneyBook? She's a coordinator too, she said. And I think HoneyBook works for pretty much any kind of creative, right?
Anybody. You can be like a kitchen remodeler. It'll work for you.
Right. Awesome. Good. So thank you so much, Cristina, for chatting with us today. This was amazing. I've learned so much. I know there was tons of takeaways, and I actually wrote that down that I was going to say that beforehand, but it really was. And obviously it was clear just from all of the questions that everyone had. Everyone was very engaged. So thank you so much.
I'm so happy. I'm so glad I could do that for you guys. I'm truly an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to pin HoneyBook's URL here one more time for you all. Go ahead and check that out. I'll also post the deal that Cristina had for you guys with the freebies and the link as well on our blog. That will be up tomorrow because it's 6 o'clock. I need to eat dinner and do homework with my kids and all that. So I gotta something done this evening, but I will get that up on the blog for sure. And again, we talked about it a few times, but we have a great blog post up on mash.com. I'm talking about all the different apps that are available, including HoneyBook, Details, Stem Counter, and Ryan was here. He was in a chat and posted some questions.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So thank you for coming, Ryan. That's awesome. And thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us, watching today's live chat. I'm always working on planning more. So if you have any ideas or topics that you want to see covered, or people you want to see or meet, or if you want to come here with me and sit and chat with your favorite closest 100 or so people, talking about something that you're passionate about, just go to mash.com, fill out the contact form. I get that, and we can connect. And of course, you can connect with me on social media. We're all over the place. And as I previously mentioned, again, this recording will be posted on Facebook, YouTube, and our blog. But if you can't wait for that and the editing and all of that I do, you can watch the replay immediately on Huzzah. So thank you guys. And today's chat was brought to you by Mash. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.